So, today we're diving into the story of how a century-old industrial giant, Yuasa, is navigating one of the biggest tech shifts of our lifetime. You see, they're a global leader in battery technology, and right now they are in the middle of a massive strategic pivot. They have to tackle the global move to electric vehicles and renewable energy. It's a fascinating story of legacy meeting innovation head-on.
Here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with their incredible 100-year history, then get into the electric crossroads they're facing right now. From there, we'll look at their game plan for the auto industry, their strategy for the future power grid, and finally, we'll unpack their blueprint for what they call an innovative legacy.
All right, so to really get what Yuasa is doing, you have to understand where they came from. And their origin story is pretty unique. It actually starts with two fierce rivals who, believe it or not, eventually joined forces to become one single powerhouse.
Just think about this for a second. Over 100 years ago, you had two totally separate companies. In 1917, Japan Battery, that's the GS, was founded with a real inventor spirit. A year later, Yuasa Battery pops up, driven by a challenging spirit. For the better part of a century, these two went head-to-head. Then, in 2004, the unthinkable happens. They merge. They combine all that history and expertise. And that new giant then gets even bigger in 2016 when it buys Panasonic's lead-acid battery business. That's the powerful legacy they're building on today.
Okay, so you've got this legacy company with its roots deep in the world of traditional gas-powered cars. And now it's standing at a massive crossroads. The whole world is shifting under its feet. The age of the electric vehicle isn't coming, it's here. And for Yuasa, this is both a monumental challenge and, you guessed it, a huge opportunity.
And the growth of electric vehicles is just explosive. I mean, look at this. In 2023, they were a pretty small slice of the pie. But the forecasts show that by 2035, EVs could make up nearly half of all new car sales. Now, if your company's history is built on batteries for combustion engines, a trend like this isn't just a change in the weather. It's a full-blown revolution that could upend your entire business.
But here's where it gets really interesting. You'd think that the rise of EVs means the traditional car battery is toast, right? Well, that's not the whole story. The demand for those batteries isn't just falling off a cliff. Why? It's simple, really. Even a brand new, fully electric car still needs a little 12-volt auxiliary battery to power things like the lights, the computers, the stereo. This makes their core business surprisingly tough and gives them a really stable foundation to fund everything they want to do next.
So, you've got this really complex market, a core business that's shrinking but definitely not disappearing, and a brand new one that's exploding. So what do? How does Yuasa respond? Well, not with some generic one-size-fits-all plan. They've developed a super sharp regional strategy that's all about defending their strongholds while attacking new opportunities at the same time.
Let's start on their home turf. In Japan, Yuasa isn't just another company, they are the company. They command a whopping 51% of the lead-acid battery market for cars. This isn't just market share, it's a fortress. This kind of dominance gives them a seriously profitable base to launch all their future investments from. And that power doesn't stop at Japan's borders. In the super fast-growing ASEAN region, they hold a massive 37% share for car batteries and, get this, an even more impressive 50% for motorcycles. We're not just talking numbers here. This represents deep, powerful supply chains in some of the most dynamic economies in the world.
So here's the really smart part, how they tailor their approach for each region. In Japan, it's all about squeezing out more profit. In ASEAN, they're doubling down on their key hubs, Thailand for cars, Indonesia for motorcycles. For Europe, their base in Turkey is the perfect launchpad to get into North Africa and the Middle East. And way down in Australia, they're going with a Made in Australia strategy to build that local brand loyalty. See, it's not one big global push. It's a sophisticated, multi-pronged attack that plays to their strengths in each region.
But look, Yuasa's big transformation isn't just about things with wheels. One of their biggest plays is empowering the world's shift to green energy. We're talking about moving beyond the car and onto the entire electrical grid.
Their industrial battery business is split into two really distinct areas. First, you've got emergency use. This is their legacy stronghold, providing ultra-reliable backup power for things that absolutely cannot fail. We're talking hospitals, data centers, cell towers. It's a market built on decades of trust. The second market,
The one that's growing like crazy is everyday use. This is all about huge energy storage systems, or ESS, which are critical for a renewable energy grid. They basically act like giant rechargeable batteries, storing solar and wind power so we can use it whenever we need it.
And their strategy here is just classic. First, they protect and defend their profitable emergency use business. That's their cash cow, where the reputation for reliability is everything. Then, they take the profits from that steady business and go on offense, aggressively expanding into that everyday use market. They're ramping up production for the grid. They're taking advantage of the global push for carbon neutrality. It's a perfect example of using a strong defense to fund a powerful offense.
Okay, so we've looked at the car strategy, and we've looked at the grid strategy. But how does it all come together? Well, Yuasa has laid out this really clear decade-long blueprint to transform itself into what they call an innovative legacy. It's all about blending that century of reliability with the technology of tomorrow.
And this isn't something they're just hoping will happen. They've mapped out a very deliberate three-stage journey. Phase 1, which is happening right now, is all about building a transformative foundation by 2025, basically making their core businesses as profitable as possible. Phase 2, leading up to 2028, is focused on actually becoming that innovative legacy, figuring out and communicating their new value to the world. And the final phase, through 2034, is all about locking in a rock-solid profit model that will last for decades.
And you can literally see this strategy playing out in their updated financial goals. Just look at this. Their revenue target for 2025 is actually a little bit lower, mostly due to swings in material prices. But now look at their operating profit target. It's been revised up significantly. And the most important number on this page, the operating margin. They're aiming for 7.7%, a full percentage point higher than they originally planned. This shows a laser focus, not just on growing, but on getting smarter and more profitable. That's the foundation they're building.
So really, their whole future rests on three main pillars. First, a massive push into batteries for electric vehicles, which is highlighted by that huge joint venture with Honda. Second, strengthening those core business cash cows, the lead-acid and backup power batteries. And third, investing in digital transformation and new ventures to make sure they stay on the cutting edge. It's a really balanced approach. Defend the present while you aggressively build the future.
And all of this brings us back to that one big final question. It's a question that tons of old-school companies are facing, but very few have such a clear answer. How do you take a century of industrial history and pivot, not just to survive, but to actually lead a revolution built on brand new technology?
The answer is right there, in their vision of becoming an innovative legacy. They aren't throwing away their history. They're using it as their secret weapon. The trust and reliability they've built over 100 years is their unique advantage. By combining that deep-seated trust with huge strategic bets on the future of energy, from EV batteries with Honda to grid-scale storage for renewables, Yuasa isn't just planning to survive this transition. They are positioning themselves to power it for the next 100 years.